point effort in the last game for the Tigers a week ago when they blew out the Queens Royals. A first ever meeting against that squad. Opening tip in the 5th all-time meeting between Clemson and the school out of Radford, Virginia. Last time they played back in the 2018-19 campaign, it was a tight game. Tigers eventually won by 8. Hall on the feed from Girard, and there's an example of the Tigers sharing the basketball for the first points of the contest.
I think Joe Girard's passing has been such an important part for the Tigers so far this year. Radford is very good on the glass. Out-rebounded West Virginia by 8 last week in their win in Morgantown. Clemson wants to continue to guard the basketball. They're so talented offensively, they've got to continue to put in work on the defensive end.
Keep an eye on those keys to the game as the contest goes on. Highlanders team undersized and without their top rebounder on the night. Their leading scorer, Kenyon Giles, can't hit the runner. Here come the Tigers. Tiger team that, of course, with Hall and Girard, the scorers as expected, and PJ's first attempt from outside won't go down. Wiggins, an emerging sophomore among those in the Tigers starting 5. Second time doesn't go, but the rebound by Shefflin. Wiggins, and the rejection from behind, DeAndre Pierce, a senior out of Denver.
And Coach Darius Nichols is very high on DeAndre Pierce. When we spoke yesterday on the phone, we wanted to talk about the 3 guards. He immediately wanted to talk about Pierce and his shot blocking ability. 2 block shots per game right now. You see an early one right there.
Hall the handoff, Chase Hunter, the top distributor on the Clemson team, but it's knocked away. Tigers will keep with 7 on the shot clock. Good scrappy hustle. That's what the Radford Highlanders do. And that time, Brian Antoine almost came up with a steal. He leads them in that category.
And this is a very physical, scrappy Radford team. Very talented guards, but they want to be good on the defensive end as well.
Hunter. Shefflin again battles on the glass, but it comes away to Smith. Highlanders without, as we noted, the guy who leads them in rebounding, Justin Archer, in their starting 5. He suffered an injury against West Virginia with a game-time decision, so the likes of Pierce will have to clean up inside. But the guards you just saw in Antoine, Smith, and Giles, they are lethal weapons in terms of scoring. Another runner won't go for the sophomore Giles. Shefflin will try his hand from outside, and the lid remains on from long range so far.
It does. 4 early threes by the Tigers. Coach Brownell wants to see the ball touch the paint.
Giles came to them out of Silverado High in Las Vegas, grew up in the Hampton Roads area of Virginia. Actually went out to Vegas to be with his brothers and further improve his basketball skills. Miss on the inside try by Antoine.
Coach Brownell wants to see the ball touch the paint right here on this possession. Going to result in a turnover, though.
Girard giving it up. Darius Nichols, 3rd season, guiding the Highlanders team. In his first year, they won 11. Last year, quite a turnaround. 21 victories. Picked 2nd behind UNC Asheville in the Big South. And he does have some connections to this Clemson program. We'll talk more about those as we continue on in the ball game tonight. So we're holding at 2-0. Tigers scored in the first few seconds on the feed from Girard to Hall. Neither team lighting it up so far. Highlanders have missed their first 3 shots. Tigers are 1 of 6.
And just as we talked about the Tigers' key to guarding the basketball, you're seeing Radford play 5 around the perimeter, get it as spaced out as possible to try to create room for those dynamic guards to get downhill.
Hunter defending Truth Harris, who missed on his layup try. Girard and Hall up high. Shot clock coming up on 10. Wiggins from the left wing. Tigers are 1 of 7 from the field.
Radford's doing an outstanding job keeping the ball in front right now. Tigers can't touch the paint.
First bucket of the night will go down for Giles after a bumpy start. He's a 30% three-point shooter.
He ended up in a ball screen switch right there with P.J. Hall and him able to take advantage of it and knock down the 3.
Girard has yet to take a shot so far. And Antoine knocking it out of bounds. So we told you the big win for the Highlanders 9 days ago up in Morgantown. They were down by a point late. They didn't have timeouts left, so they played through in the final seconds. Smith was on the wing, lost the handle, rekindled, and the final 2 of his 18 points, the winner in a 66-65 triumph. Hall knocking down the three-point try. Giving it a couple of shots. Third time's the charm.
Tigers keep chipping away at it. PJ gets another open look and knocks that one down. Going back, Pete, to that big game winner for Radford at West Virginia, talking to the Radford staff earlier today, they fumbled the ball. The possession didn't go the way they had planned. Smith stayed with it, able to knock down the game winner and send them home with a win from Morgantown. Huge win for the Highlanders.
They had another Power 5 win. They've been giant killers over the years. The year they came in here, the last time in that 18-19 campaign, they had beaten Texas. There's Girard with his first attempt of the night. Tigers build on the early advantage.
Joe Girard in the ball screen. Radford continue to back up. Girard knocks it down from deep.
Highlanders team averaging about 75 points a game. 46% from the field, 38% beyond the arc. Smith with Girard defending. Chandler Turner missed the runner moments ago in the BG transfer with a turnover. Chase Hunter pushing the pace. Gets the bounce.
And the Clemson staff talked about defensively. They felt like the second half at Queens wasn't as sharp as they wanted it to be defensively. They want to do a better job guarding the basketball. They want to be aggressive defensively with Radford, but Radford has them so spread out right now, they're having a difficult time doing that.
Radford led moments ago 3-2. Turner on the drive around Hall, who swats it away. For PJ, his 29th block of the season, among the best in the nation. Tigers off to a good start. Joe Girard, his first attempt, a swish from downtown. And
Joe Girard doing what he does well.
Tigers head coach Brad Brownell closing in on 420 wins in his career after number 419 tonight. And, of course, the winningest head coach in Clemson history. What a start his team is off to. Really, this team looks like it could be as good as any he's had in this decade and a half at the helm.
I think it could be one of the best Clemson teams in the last 25 years in program history. I mean, the sky's the limit. We'll talk more about seeding and quad wins and all that type stuff a little bit later, but it's a really special group, and talking to the staff, they know it, the players know it, and I think it's why they're so engaged every day in practice. Just when you talk to the players, they're really locked in right now.
He likes what has been happening with his team offensively. Antoine trying to beat the shot clock buzzer. It'll go as a violation. And a Tiger team that Brad Brownell says, with the emergence of sophomores like Wiggins and R.J. Godfrey, who's just checked in during that last time out, and others, it's given them offensive depth.
Yes.
And I don't know that you could see a team that could go as deep in terms of the score sheet in recent years that this one has for Clemson.
I think the big thing with the Tigers, you know who the top three scorers are going to be. Scores number 4, 5, and 6 have changed throughout the season, and that's part of what a special team can do.
Godfrey couldn't get it to go down. Tigers recycle the possession. Doing a good job on the board so far.
4th offensive rebound already for the Tigers.
Tigers on offense, scoring better than 81 points a game. Godfrey backing in. That's where he lives.
And Coach Brownell wanted the ball to get into the paint. You saw it go in there twice. First on the high-low feed, and then Godfrey right there backing him down, getting to his spot, continuing to be able to score it to his left shoulder.
Another turnover by the Highlanders, who've been efficient in that category. That's their 3rd. Tigers with a 9-point advantage and the opportunity to add on. You see some of the numbers for Clemson, and again, those assists per game. If you're ever around Brad Brownell right after a game, the first time he looks at a box score, he's going to look at assists to field goals, a huge stat as Hunter loads up. Chase Hunter with the stroke from the corner.
Outstanding skip pass by Chauncey Wiggins leads to that 3.
Tigers on a 13-0 run. First half. Any team going into the Christmas holiday or coming out of it is always a little bit leery, especially coming out. Are guys' legs back under them? Are they re-engaged? Well, the Tigers have looked just the part. R.J. Godfrey had the bucket before the Hunter basket. And again, re-exploring those numbers, the 39% as a team beyond the arc. Joe Girard's 45 speaks to that, but really impressive work offensively to this point.
And you've got to remember, they're doing that right now without Jack Clark, without Alex Hemingway and the staff feels like they need to get those two guys back healthy because they're going to need their shooting when they get into league play.
That's Kenyon Giles' game. They tell us he'll take some shots that make you wonder, but those are encouraged. He is an off-balance kind of player, and he's been great at it so far. Nearly 15 a game. Hunter the drive, and we'll get the foul call.
Radford's 3 guards are as talented as any 3 you'll find in college basketball. And you see that isolation action right there. Kenyon Giles able to create his own shot without Justin Archer. Radford's going to space the floor as much as possible, try to spread the Tigers out, and allow those guards to play downhill.
Chase Hunter, 83%, second on the team from the line. DeAndre Price, the biggest of the guys in their rotation tonight at 6'10", picking up the first personal. And the first foul called on either side tonight. Hunter, 10.5 points a game, a little bit down from last year. He'll be the first one to tell you he's not necessarily been in the flow scoring-wise that he wants to, but an indication is he'll get a rest of just how good this team has been offensively, is they don't really need much more from him right now.
I don't know that it's so much that he's out of it as much as he's got more weapons around him. You know, last year, Chase really had to score the basketball, had Brevin Galloway there beside him, but right now, Joe Girard, and then that 4th scorer right now, it's Chauncey Wiggins. Earlier in the year, it was R.J. Godfrey. They've got a lot of weapons offensively.
Josh Beadle defending. Giles works inside. Turnaround. Swish. Wow.
And that's good defense. Josh Beadle checks in the game, has good length, contests the shot. That's just one of those shots where great offense is better than good defense.
Dylan Hunter off the crossover. Beadle, the hesitation. Girard and Hall checking back in moments ago. Godfrey, shot clock at 5. The drive, Pierce the rejection. You got 2 guys in this game that have nearly 30 blocks. That's the 28th for him. We saw P.J. Hall get his 29th earlier.
And Pierce came into the game averaging 2 blocks per game. He's already gotten those 2 in the first 8 minutes.
Giles has all 7 of their points. Now he's got all 9. He's starting to feel it after a tough start.
Giles has made some really tough shots. Tigers going to have to do a better job pushing out the catch right now.
Hunter, no. And the rebound pulled down by the senior out of Denver, DeAndre Pierce. Truth Harris with the ball. Guy who's seen his playing time increase as the season's gone along. Junior college transfer for them. Giles over Girard that time. He's on his own scoring run. Just like that, Highlanders back within 5.
And I think that's a 9-0 run right now. And as you said, Kenyon Giles, I think, has all 12. Tigers were trying to deny the catch, but he came off of that pin down, was able to get any space. Once he touches it right now, he's open.
Girard has 5. Answers for the Tigers. Clemson 4-0 all-time against Radford. Turner lost the handle, got it back. He misses on a second try from the field. Girard loves the transition game and the pull-up too. Look at the work inside. Wiggins, I should say Godfrey at 6'7", able to muscle his way underneath.
And R.J. Godfrey's coming off of a career-high 19 points against Queens. He knows who he is. He's outstanding around the rim. He's a very good offensive rebounder there for the Tigers. Rebounds it and puts it right back in.
Godfrey 6'7", really 6'8". Wiggins at 6'10". Boy, we told you Giles likes to shoot off balance, and sometimes you scratch your head.
Sometimes great offense is just better than really good defense, and that's...
Kenyon Giles had 12 points in their win back on the 20th at West Virginia. He has matched that tonight. He's done all of their scoring. And well, the sophomore guard, who was an all-Big South freshman performer, keeping his team in this game.
He was the freshman, the player of the week 1 in the Big South Conference. 18 points at the University of North Carolina, and then backed that up with 22 in a game at the Greenbrier in West Virginia when they beat Marshall. And so obviously a really talented guard, can score the basketball. The Tigers are seeing that right now.
The Radford team picked second behind a very good UNC Asheville squad in the Big South Conference. I like their backcourt. Trenton Walters, freshman out of Frisco, Texas, just checked in. He Gave it away to Smith, who gets the attention of Chase Hunter. Smith looking for his first points of the night off the 18 against the Mountaineers. And the first player not named Kenyon Giles to get a bucket in this game for the Highlanders.
Outstanding dribble drive right there. Beat Chase Hunter to the baseline and was able to get to the rim.
Second turnover for Clemson. Tigers ran out to leads of 15-3 and 17-5. The personal 7-0 run by Giles got Radford back in it. Now a chance to get a little bit closer. It's Kyle Burns, a redshirt freshman with the ball, and over top of P.J. Hall. Beadle brings it front court. Tigers trying for an 11th win on the year on this last regular season non-conference game. Girard from the left wing. Not that time. Shefflin in a battle for the rebound is fouled.
Ian Shefflin is one of the best rebounders in college basketball. And you're seeing that early right now tonight. That's already his second offensive rebound. He continues to be a force on the glass. They came down off of Joe Girard. P.J. Hall kicks it out. It leaves Ian on the backside for the offensive rebound.
First foul on Smith, second on the Highlanders here in the opening half. Hunter skips it. Beadle. It remains a 7-point game.
And the Highlanders have been able to do this right now. Kenyon Giles checked out during the last media timeout. They're +2 right now coming out of the media.
Moguls wanted the walk called on Walters. Shot clock under 10. Girard defending. Walters forces. Shefflin to Girard. To Hunter. He wanted to throw it down. He'll settle for the layup.
I think Ian Shefflin is an outstanding passer. You saw on that rebound, he turned his shoulders to start the outlet pass, immediately got it at the floor, and it leads to a 2-on-1. Great outlet pass off the rebound by Ian Shefflin.
Smith came to them from Murray State. One of their assistants had been on that staff. 5 on the shot clock. Turner, a big who's known for his outside shot, tried to feed it to Smith. Tigers forcing another turnover.
You're seeing
the on Radford.
And you're seeing the aggressiveness right now in the ball screen defense. Tigers trying to force it down to the side, keeping Radford to the sideline and able to push it back. Tigers have done an outstanding job on the glass. Ian Shefflin with a terrific outlet pass right here. Gets it ahead to Joe Girard, pitches it to Chase Hunter, and the Tigers are off and running in transition.
Brad Brownell's team is going to be left on the doorstep on Selection Sunday this year. You know, at this point, as they're about to resume ACC play, JD, it's almost like they're playing for tournament seeding.
They are, and that's such an important part right now in the NCAA tournament is who you play, where you play them, because this is a talented Clemson basketball team, and they've got a chance to play deep into the NCAA tournament. And I told one of the staff members earlier this week, you see it right now. They're playing like every day matters, and it does because the seed matters. You see those quad 1 wins, most in the ACC this year, but not just the quad 1, but the quad 4 is really important. That's probably what kept them out last year. They went 9-3 in quad 4. This year they're 4-0. They've only had 4. They might have 1 more potentially, but they're doing an outstanding job, and you see that in their net ranking right now.
Shefflin and the Tigers back to a double-figure advantage, up by 11. Smith, Harris, out of bounds, back over to Clemson. It's an improved ACC. That's an important part of the equation over the next couple of months.
It is, and a big part of that, the ACC has won 71% of their non-conference games so far, 6 teams in the top 50. The league is off to a great start. So what that means is when the league plays each other in January, February, March, it helps the league and it doesn't hurt it.
And the beat goes on. Tigers build their largest lead of the night.
Tigers continue to move the ball very well. Great rotation right there defensively by Ian Shefflin.
Hall just made a bucket. Now he forces the turnover. Looking to give it back to Hunter. Wiggins and Hall out high. Hunter to Hall. Turnaround. P.J. Hall on his way to another one of those 20-point games. He's got a pile of those, came into the night, averaging nearly 21 points a contest.
Great maturity right there by Chase Hunter, though. He gets the kick out. Could have taken the 13th three of the first half. Instead, throws it down low to their All-American candidate. Gets another paint touch.
9-0 run for Clemson, which had a 13-0 run earlier in this half. Giles, again off balance, took a victory lap as he fired over Hunter.
And felt like he got fouled on the dribble penetration. That's outstanding defense by Chase Hunter. Kenyon Giles is just scoring it really well right now.
Giles with 14 of their 16 points. Wiggins missing badly. There's Hall. Hunter. Pierce impacting that shot into the front court. Harris will slow it down. Boy, Giles thought about it from out near the paw. With Wiggins defending, he steps back. Well, their top rebounder, Archer, in there. Clearing the glass going to be an issue for this Radford team.
But a very good job by Chauncey Wiggins using his length and making Giles score over the top of him.
And one for Joe Girard.
And that's where I think Joe Girard has been so good for the Tigers this year. He was known as just a catch-and-shoot guy, but he is outstanding off the bounce. Talking to associate head coach Billy Donlin last night, the staff had pulled a stat over the Christmas break. Joe Girard leads the country in pick-and-roll efficiency right now. And you see it right there in his ability to attack downhill, gets to the rim, strong with the basketball, outstanding finish right there for Joe Girard.
91% from the line, so he rarely misses. Girard in the game, now with 8. Tigers growing the lead. Turner. Tough go of it so far from beyond the arc for several of these Radford shooters other than Giles. Girard for 3.
Joe Girard is so special for the Clemson offense. Talking to the Radford staff last night and earlier today, as you talk to other coaching staffs and they watch Clemson on film, he's just a game changer. He changes the Clemson offense, and he's why Clemson has a chance to have an incredible season.
6 turnover the night for Radford. Hunter and the Tigers trying to extend this run. 15-2 over the past 3.5. Don't think they're going to get to 69 like they did last week in the opening 20 minutes against Queens, but they are doing a fine job. So we talk about the strength of the ACC, and again, top 75 is important facing teams like that in conference play.
It is, because that's what goes into the equation for quad 1 wins. Top 75 on the road, home, neutral once they get to the ACC tournament. And that's what the league works for in November and December. And that's a testament to the scheduling in the non-conference.
Couldn't get it to go. Let's see if he was beyond the arc. Smith got him on the arm for his second personal foul. Joe Girard, you think of him, you mentioned the pick and roll, but this is what I think of when I think of Joe Girard. That right there, downtown.
The 6th all-time leading three-point shooter in ACC basketball history. You think about the history of this incredible league, and we're going to talk about it later. You know, kind of got off to a little bit of a slow start this season, settling in, but now he's really, really good offensively for the Tigers as they get into the rest of the league play, having already played one ACC game this year.
Building on his scoring night, and the second of 3 free throws.
It's been really interesting too, is you've been around Joe Girard and you see him with the program, the way that P.J. Hall embraced him whenever he came, the teammates. He's been a great fit in the Clemson community. Just talking to him, he's an outstanding young man, and he's really enjoying his time in Clemson.
He and Hall both in double figures. Dylan Hunter extending the defense on Giles. He's the only one they've not been able to contain. Turner back to Giles, 5 on the shot clock, a bullet inside. Pierce had the size advantage on Girard and took advantage of it.
And you mentioned the sophomores for Coach Brownell just a minute ago. You're seeing Dylan Hunter now guard Kenyon Giles. Coach Brownell wants to see those young guys be effective on the defensive end.
Shefflin for Godfrey. And off of Turner, Tigers will keep in their end. Highlanders trying to hang around. They're down big, although a pretty pass inside.
Great job. 2 assists per game, 2.5 blocks. Can score it inside and out, has incredible touch. Just a really dynamic player from here in the upstate. He's healthy. Talking to him over Christmas, just really excited about his team. He mentioned the fact that, for so many guys, whether you're talking about a Joe Girard, some of the older ones, you don't know how many more opportunities like this that you have. And, their motto, leave no doubt. And you can see it every day in the way that they come to prepare and as they get ready for the second game of the ACC later this week.
Tough to go inside on that guy. Second block of the night. Now 29 on the year for DeAndre Pierce. One of the few stops they've gotten, though, over the past several minutes. Turner and the Bowling Green transfer. Able to knock one down from the outside. He had been 0 for 4. But still a mighty hill to climb for the school from southwestern Virginia. They've trailed just once this year at the half. That was at North Carolina. In the first contest of the year, Girard is feeling it. Another tray. Give him 3 in the game. He's got 17, closing in on a 20-point opening half.
Great ball movement by the Tigers right there. Joe Girard catches it. Quick shot fake, sidestep, knocks down the 3.
Giles over the reach of Hall. Shefflin pulling down another board. 9 in the opening half of the Tiger Junior. Hall able to save it. Shefflin the lob. Hall underneath had the mismatch, and they'll get a reach-in foul.
And you see the way Radford has chosen to guard P.J. Hall. They're fronting him even when it's a guard, which means those skip passes are wide open. Great pass right here. Ball goes inside. They're moving it. Ian Shefflin kicks it out. Terrific pass by Shefflin.
Too often you see a three-point shooter with a pump fake or a hesitation, and they generally miss. Girard about as good at shedding a defender and then making as I've seen.
Yeah, I think that's a shot that's really become one that in skill development with guards, you're constantly working on as a high-level shooter. NBA guys have made that popular over the last 10 years where you've got that guy running at you like they're going to do to Joe Girard. Quick shot fake, but the best part of it is the pace with it. So many players, we get in a hurry with the shot fake. It's not about how fast you can shot fake. It's about how good the shot fake is. Great shot fake to a sidestep. Young players can learn a lot from that move right there.
All 78% this season. Giles just picked up his first for Radford. 7 on the Highlanders team.
And Kenyon Giles down there fronting P.J. Hall in the high-low, working really hard. The Chesapeake, Virginia native is a really tough guard for the Radford Highlanders.
Back out to a 23-point advantage. That matches the largest of the night. Another turnover by a usually efficient team, but then Girard will give it right back.
Deflection by P.J. Hall leads to transition. That's a pass that Joe Girard won't fumble very many times.
Coming up on 2 to go in the opening half, and Tiger team that's holding a squad that averages about 75 points a game to just 21 over the first 18 minutes.
And as you mentioned in the opening, Radford's without multiple guys down low. Obviously, Kenyon Giles has shown how dynamic of a scorer he can be. But this is a really good Radford team missing some important pieces right now.
Hunter. Shefflin lines it up. Battle for the rebound. There's contact. Let's see. Ball's going to go back over to Radford.
And I can't say enough about Kenyon Giles. You can see the toughness. And in talking to Shane Nichols, one of the assistants, who obviously has some upstate ties, having played at Wofford, talked about his toughness. As a Chesapeake, Tidewater, Virginia guy, down there battling P.J. Hall, really competitive around the basket.
Kenyon Giles, a sophomore, 5'11". They list him at 165. Looks a little bit heavier than that. He has scored 14 of their 21 points. Under 1.5 to go. Smith trying to get his night going. What a pretty move right over Dylan Hunter.
It's an outstanding shot and a finish right there. Got his shoulder into Dylan Hunter, created a little bit of space to be able to get that right-hand floater off.
Still a 21-point Clemson advantage. Hunter looked low for Hall. Baseline jumper not going to go for PJ, and it comes down to Giles. So a chance to get inside a 20 down. Quickly ahead, Pierce in the corner. Bad miss by Burns.
I've been very impressed with DeAndre Pierce, though. And Coach Nichols talked about him a little bit yesterday. We brought up the 3 dynamic guards, and he immediately went to Pierce and talked about his development. You saw the pace right there. He's running in transition. That's a hard catch for a big man. Called it, gathered it, and instead of taking a difficult shot at the rim, is able to find a guard on the perimeter. That's an outstanding job passing the basketball by Pierce. And while the Highlanders are without some really important bigs tonight, this is going to prove valuable for Radford down the road.
Pierce just picked up his second personal, so he'll head to the bench. PJ Hall, one of 2 in double figures. He is 12. Joe Girard was 17. And Chase Hunter now able to knock down the free throw to join them in that category. Hunter, of course, made 2 of the more important free throws of the season up in Asheville early on in the win over UAB. And we told you earlier, came in at 83%, second on the team behind his buddy Joe Girard. Girard will get a rest. 39.6 to go before the break.
But defensively right here for the Tigers, 4 of the sophomores on the floor right here to try to get this last stop of the half. Coach Brownell is using these minutes valuably to try to test his young Tigers.
You see the differential, shot clock to game clock. Giles, Hunter defends. Coming up on 5 on the shot clock. Smith on the wing. He just realized he's coming up on 2, then 1, and he forced the 3 over Dylan Hunter. 5 to go in the half. Chase Hunter, crossover. Kick to his brother. Fitting end to the opening half. One Hunter to another.
Great example of what we talked about in the opening, just shooting
points again.
The All-American candidate has scored 20 or more 22 times in his career. Off to a great start here in the first half, heated up from 3 as the game went along.
12 in the opening half for the Tigers senior at a Dorman High in the Spartanburg area. And Clemson rolling once again. 69 last Friday in the first 20 minutes against Queens. Well, the 49 good for a massive lead once again heading into a second half here at home. Guy with the ball right now is somebody they're trying to get going tonight, their top scorer, Antoine, and they set a play for him, but he can't knock it down. Just his second attempt of the night, and Brian Antoine now 0 for 2. So we gave you the keys, JD, off the top. Let's see how things have aligned as the first half proceeded.
We talked about Radford's physicality and the rebounding. Really hard as they're undermanned right now, particularly without Justin Archer. For Clemson, it was about guarding the basketball. They did not do a great job of that in the second half against Queens. I know the coaching staff talked about that extensively. They want to see the Tigers do a better job guarding here in the second half.
You don't see the hook shot that much anymore in college hoops, but PJ Hall uses it as a regular weapon.
It's great when you arrive at the arena early and you get to see the assistant coaches going through things with their players. Dick Bender out there with PJ Hall, Ian Shefflin, RJ Godfrey, Boz Leida, all those guys working on that shot. They have great touch at the rim.
Smith held in check in the first half. Giles trying to build on his 14-point night, give him the assist. Antoine and his head coach had a conversation earlier in the year. He comes into the night, again, should be their top scorer, averaging about 11 a game. His coach said, I've got to get you up around 12. He responded with his career high of a huge output, 30 against Elon, but still looking for more out of him. And we've got a foul on the floor.
PJ Hall doing an outstanding job getting deep post position. That's been one of the few times Pierce has allowed him to catch it that deep. The Highlanders had been fronting the post, working to make that catch harder. He allows PJ Hall to catch it that deep. There's not much of a defense for that.
Drive inside by Girard off the inbound play.
Outstanding drive to his left. Joe Girard saw that gap, took it all the way to the rim, and finished it at the hole.
They just got DeAndre Pierce, their best big, with his 3rd of the night. Highlanders can't afford to trade baskets, obviously, with this deficit. Walters, freshman point guard from just outside of Dallas. Girard nearly knocked it away. What a nice inbound play this was. And again, Joe Girard, you think about him as a long-range shooter, but he is very good at attacking the basket.
He's very crafty. He's got strong shoulders. He recognized this gap to the left. I've been really impressed this season with his ability to attack off the dribble. Outstanding shooter, obviously, but can really play off the bounce as well.
Smith just made like his buddy Giles, forcing the shot, gets it to go. He's got half a dozen. But still, the big deficit. Girard, another drive, went up and under.
Outstanding job attacking that closeout right there. Had the back cut from Chauncey Wiggins. Joe Girard catches it on the wing and attacks off the dribble.
He's got 21. It was against a team from the state of Virginia that had his career high of 31 a season ago against Richmond. As Hall nearly took it away, so could be a night where he sets another milestone for himself. Quick pass on the wing, Turner. He got Hall in the air, goes over top of Shefflin. And P.J. Hall clears the glass.
Great recognition by Joe Girard that DeAndre Pierce had picked up another foul. They took the shot blocker off the floor for the Highlanders. Tigers played at the rim. He able to lay it in. No rim protection right now for the Highlanders.
Hunter lobs, Hall kicks, Shefflin delivers.
Outstanding pass right there by P.J. Hall. Catches it with one hand, immediately finds his teammate Ian Shefflin right there on the perimeter, knocking down that three. We talked about the best in the ACC at sharing the basketball. You're seeing it right here in the first half from the Tigers.
Rolling early second half, 58-27 on the Radford Highlanders. Off the top, we talked about how well this Clemson team shares the basketball.
This is great vision by P.J. Hall as this ball is post-fed by Chase Hunter. He catches it with one hand, and before he ever touches the floor, he knew exactly where Ian Shefflin was. You talk about a connected group and the chance to have a special season. Those are the types of plays that you get excited about as a coach on film because he knew exactly where his teammate was going to be.
Tigers showing some full court pressure. Shefflin doesn't take many threes. That was his first made of the night. He's 7 of 12 on the season beyond the arc. Giles, they were trying to set a play for him. Looking to break down Hunter. On the wing for Burns. And get the pull-up jumper to fall. Girard. Hall in transition. Around Turner, goes under the defender. Pierce, and one.
And I think the thing that you're going to keep your eyes on in the second half is going to be the defense for the Tigers. As we talked about, staff didn't feel quite like they guarded as well in the second half against Queens as they would have liked. Great possession again defensively, leads to that right there. PJ catches it at the top of the key. And the Tigers took a lot of threes in the first half, and they shoot it so well. They're shooting 38%, but they continue to attack the rim with a little bit more intentionality in the second half than they did in the first.
Pierce had just checked back in. Now he's back on the bench with a fourth personal foul. Hall building on a nice night. Perfect from the line, 3 out of 3, give him 17. Of course, he had that impressive effort with 27 points last Friday night against Queens. 21 in the only loss of the season at Memphis the game before. Turner on Boz Leida, who just checked in. And the foul will be called on the transfer from UNCG, who's actually played against Radford before. And Boz Leida, originally from the Netherlands, been in the States now for quite a while. And mom and dad are here. There's Helen and Adrian Leida. Came over to visit for a few weeks, see their son.
And the Clemson coaching staff has really good confidence in Boz Leida. Again, talking to Dick Bender last night, he was playing 10, 12 minutes per game, November, early December. Did not play as much late in December. They know they've got to get him more valuable minutes because they're going to need him in January and February. They don't want to see P.J. Hall playing 32-plus minutes a game in the ACC. They know the physicality of it. They've got to get Leida going.
Other than the injuries for Clark and Hemingway, and Brad Brownell telling us this morning that he's been told that it's optimistic on those guys returning sooner than later. What hasn't worked for this Clemson team? Leida has come in and fit his role. Girard, obviously, the growth of the sophomores, Wiggins and Godfrey in particular, as Wiggins goes to work on Turner. And he'll be called for the travel, but everything seemingly has fit into place. Shefflin emerging as a factor, especially inside with his 7th double-figure rebound game of the season so far tonight.
I made the comment to Dick Bender last night. The bench is short right now. It's a little bit easier as a coach. You don't have to worry about, who's getting minutes, who's not playing. Obviously, they need those guys back. They feel like they're going to need their shooting in the ACC. But as you said, they're playing so well. Now, as those guys build back in, it presents a challenge within the opportunity.
Burns now 0 for 2 beyond the arc, 0 for 4 on the night. Kind of how it's gone for the Radford Highlanders. That man should be smiling more, but he's feeling good inside when he looks at the scoreboard. Basketball day for Clemson's first family. There's President Jim Clemens, his daughter Grace. They were down at the Gator Bowl. Witnessing that exciting come-from-behind victory, 38-35. Here they are tonight at the basketball game, and his wife Beth is also on hand tonight, and they're celebrating their 33rd wedding anniversary. So congratulations to the Clemens on that as well.
It's a special day. You don't plan for days like today. The bowl game obviously fell on the same day as a basketball game. That happens sometimes. Football team got the win, much needed going into the offseason. Basketball team is having a great season, going to continue to play well, and then a great turnout here tonight. And the next home game is going to continue to be like this as North Carolina comes to town.
Girard already on a 21-point night. Hunter on the right wing. Got the feed from his brother. Remember, he kicked it out to Dillon to close out the opening half, and Chase Hunter having one of his better scoring nights. He's got 14 so far.
Giving back to his brother after getting the assist at the end of the half.
Highlanders team has been held in check. 38% for the game, but it just seems like much lower than that. They've had very little flow offensively. Other than that guy, Giles, who will head to the line.
It's a great challenge for the Tigers to guard the basketball here in the second half. Going to go to Miami next Wednesday. The schedule's going to get hard. The staff wants to continue to see this team that is so talented offensively lock in on the defensive end.
Giles 91% from the line this season, though there are others who are ahead of him on their team. Shows a nice touch. His first points of the second half after he scored 14 of their 23 opening half points. Darius Nichols told me today he wasn't here just to hang around in the game. They were coming in here to win, just like they did in Morgantown back on the 20th. 1 out of 2 for Giles, but as Clemson has liked to do, they have made it difficult on a foe here in Littlejohn this season.
Radford is very good. Close losses to Old Dominion, James Madison, beat Marshall, won at West Virginia. They're better than this performance tonight. They're without a lot of guys. They'll try to get some guys healthy as conference play starts next week.
Giles hesitated, then slipped. Amazing they didn't turn it over. Smith from the wing. Halfway down it comes out. Harris couldn't hold on to the rebound for the Highlanders.
Loose ball almost came.
34-point advantage.
Loose ball almost came up big for the Highlanders with the open three.
Lida had a choice of Hunters, gave it to Chase. How about Boz from the outside? Mom and Dad have got to be loving that, just a few feet away from where he drained that three-pointer. His first as a Tiger.
First one of the season. Parents are here in attendance. Good for Boz Lida.
Biggest lead of the night. Tigers extended to 37. Giles trying to split defenders. Dillon and Chase Hunter. Shot clock at 5. And the bomb for Truth Harris. 44% beyond the arc.
The junior here from Indian Hills Community College, averaging 7 points per game this year, just gives Coach Nichols another dynamic score on the perimeter.
Girard. Antoine had a hand in his face. Wiggins cleans up inside. Chauncey Wiggins getting into the scoring column, coming in averaging about 7.5 a game, his first bucket of the night.
13 points per game in the last 4, has really emerged in the second half of December to give the Tigers another scoring option. But what they'll love right there is the offensive rebound and scoring it in the paint.
Lida out defending the much smaller Giles, who breaks him down and gets the roll.
That's an outstanding shot by Kenyon Giles. Was able to create space, Step away from the bigger Boz Leida, able to get it off. Great touch at the rim.
Harris reaching in, almost took that one away. Dylan Hunter, Wiggins from the free throw line. He loves the mid-range game.
Outstanding flash there by Chauncey Wiggins. Since the last media timeout, Clemson has gone a little bit more to some motion, playing through the elbow, a little bit of a overaction right there to a back cut with a ball screen. Great shot by Chauncey Wiggins.
Away from the ball, a foul. And it'll be a hold on Wiggins. So how about Boz Leida giving him something to talk about for this family reunion?
Absolutely. Family in town for about a month. You see the reaction right there. They're excited. What a thrill for that family to be over here to see their son. I think they said for 3 to 4 weeks, so they'll get to see some ACC games at home. Big shot for Boz Leida right there.
His second appearance against Radford, his first points, didn't score when he was on UNCG and the teams played a few years back. Off the inbound, Giles. Fade away, and Beadle defending well.
Great job by the sophomore guard for the Tigers. Coach Brownell wants to see Dylan Hunter, Josh Beadle continue to step up and guard Kenyon Giles here in the second half.
Feed inside to Godfrey. They'll get Antoine on the reach-in. Tough go of it for the visitors in Littlejohn. Tigers roll. Tigers knew when Joseph Girard came down from Syracuse as the returning leading scorer in the ACC, they were going to get somebody who could fill it up. First couple of games he's settled in since, he's been dynamite.
Joe Girard has been everything that Coach Brownell and the staff could have hoped for and more. Watching him come into practice in the summer, they talked about learning to defend man-to-man, but just seeing the way the Tigers have shared the basketball. He made another three to tie Scott Wood for 5th place all-time in the ACC, for 5th all-time in threes made. Really dynamic, outstanding player for the Tigers, and is having a great year.
Off the inbound, Beadle. Look at the ball movement. Godfrey to Girard. That's a milestone three, the 335th of his career.
Right on time to pass Scott Wood from NC State for 5th all-time. Outstanding pass by R.J. Godfrey. Recognized the one more, throws it to Girard, and he knocks it down.
24 in the game for the native of Glens Falls, New York. Tigers pushing a 40-point lead here.
I love watching R.J. Godfrey in ball screen defense for the Tigers. They went to a switch right there. I believe R.J. Godfrey is their best post player to switch the ball screen, and so he allows them to change that up. They were pushing most of them down to the sideline. Godfrey came in, got into a switch, and was able to guard.
Godfrey, shot clock at 10. Tried to get it inside to Leida. And out of bounds, back over to the Highlanders. Just the 6th turnover for the Clemson team. Leida getting extended minutes. You know his family loves that, but on top of all, he's able to give P.J. Hall an extended rest. And now Tigers star postman will check in, but mom and dad have to like what they've seen out of Boz Leida. Filling that role perfectly as a guy they only need about 10 minutes a game out of to give Hall or Shefflin a rest.
Absolutely, and the staff knows that. They felt like late in December he didn't get as many minutes as he needed. So you can see a conscious effort here in the second half to get him more time and continue to get him more comfortable.
Burns keeping the possession alive. Joseph Girard, good catch and shoot guy, as good as you'll find.
Outstanding job on the set play out of the timeout. Josh Beadle comes off of that curl, kicks it to the corner. And again, I go back to R.J. Godfrey's pass, very good. Knocks it down right there to Joe Girard.
Chandler Turner came to their program from Bowling Green in the MAC, but you see the score. Tigers continue to lead comfortably. Girard getting a rest. Just in recent memory, Tigers had a couple of guards come into the program from Robert Morris and Vanderbilt, respectively. Marquise Reed and Sheldon Mitchell. Another block for Pierce, so it's 4 fouls, but Godfrey inside to finish it up.
R.J. Godfrey's done a great job all season on the offensive glass, but I'm really impressed with DeAndre Pierce. It's been very good defending at the rim. He's got the 4 fouls. Coach Nichols is going to continue to let him play because he will grow from this opportunity tonight. Great communication right there by the Tigers. You saw a ball screen that involved two post players, R.J. Godfrey and P.J. Hall. They initially were in a down coverage. P.J. changed it mid-ball screen and got it into a switch. Really impressive. I know the Highlanders scored there, but that's great communication on the defensive end by the Tigers.
Turner now has 9. Hall unable to get it to go. Look at Beadle skying with red jerseys on either side. And the arrow will keep it in the Clemson end.
Josh Beadle continues to be athletic. He's done a great job over the last couple of weeks on the defensive end for the Tigers, attacking offensively off the dribble. They're going to the offensive glass.
So Girard here for just 1 year. There's Marquise Reed and Shelton Mitchell were here for multiple seasons. We know the impact they had on a team that made it to the Sweet 16. Go way back to the 90s. And boy, the Tigers had a fine guard who was here for just a couple of years way back when.
Chris Whitney was an outstanding guard. Growing up in Westminster, South Carolina, getting to come to games at Little John, I remember seeing Chris play. Outstanding player for the Tigers.
That was almost a turnover on the part of Truth Harris. But you look at Chris Whitney and what he was able to do in 2 years under Cliff Ellis, and then really Reed and Mitchell, and then you add Girard. And in terms of short tenured guys in the backcourt, those may be the 4 best that have come through this Clemson program.
Yeah, the name Chris Whitney was just that's a great one by you, Pete. And you talk about the impact that Joe Girard has a chance to have for the Tigers this year with the season that they're having. And now he's going into the history books. He's one of the top 5 all-time shooters in the ACC.
Now, of course, the longtime fan says, wait a minute, Skip Wise just 1 year, but had he stayed his entire career, he might have been the greatest player in Clemson history. But we're talking about guys who came to the program from other places. From the corner, bad miss for Antoine, who's struggling tonight. 76-39 game coming up on 8 to go. But in terms of being able to go out in the portal era and get guys who can come in and help you big time, Brad Brownell's done a very nice job of that in recent seasons.
As I think about college basketball right now, and you think about guys, Hunter Dickinson at Kansas comes to mind as in terms of transfers that have had a huge impact. Joe Girard is in that list. When you talk about the Tigers being in the top 20 right now, the season that they're having, Hunter Dickinson obviously will be at Kansas for 1 year. Those types of transfers are having a major impact.
Hunter having one of his better scoring nights. Goes over top of Harris. 16 in the game for the Tigers senior from just outside of Atlanta.
Good to see Chase Hunter right there. He just got into his spot, elevated, knocked down the pull-up jump shot.
Tigers again on the verge of a 40-point lead. Coming up on 7.5 to go. Antoine trying to get past Godfrey and taken away Beadle. Ahead to Hunter. Had to rekindle. Now he'll load up. Beadle off the deflection from Hall. I don't know, give PJ assist?
I think so. I might even give the assist to Chase Hunter. You know you're talented offensively as a team when you take a transition layup, dribble it out, shoot the 3, it goes to the rim. But a great job by Josh Beadle, again on the offensive glass, continues to use his athleticism to score it.
Head coach in his first time facing the Tigers in that capacity, but he has seen Clemson before. Madison Square Garden, March of 2007, the NIT final. And there he is, Nichols. If he wasn't driving, he was hitting fadeaways. A 13-point effort. You notice they didn't spell Virginia correctly on the T-shirts, but they were happy to hold them up as they knocked off the Tigers by 5, a 25-win Clemson team that almost won an NIT title. But the guy who's running the show for Radford, big hand in that. He had actually made the game winner late against Mississippi State in the semifinals, or else it would have been Tigers Bulldogs in the championship.
I've had the pleasure of knowing Darius Nichols for a number of years. He was an assistant at Wofford, was at the University of Florida with Mike White. And so I reached out to Coach White yesterday and I asked him, I said, when he was an assistant for you, when did you know he was special? And the 2 things that Coach White came back was his personality and his presence. And the thing that immediately came to my mind when Coach White told me that is the retention of their players. And Coach Nichols has talked about it. So much of it isn't just about who you get, it's who you keep. And you can tell in the relationship that he has with his guys. Coach Nichols is a bright star, and Radford's got a really good one.
Godfrey got Pierce in the air. R.J. Godfrey. That was 8 on the night. Tigers up by better than 40 and still about 6.5 to go. Quick move to the bucket by the freshman Walters. Out front, Antoine. Got to feel good for him. 5 on the night. He's now 1 of 3 beyond the arc.
5 points in the second half for the senior for Radford. They'll need more of that as they get into the Big South Conference.
Godfrey and Pierce with 4 fouls can only be so aggressive, but he's a really good shot blocker.
I think that the evening has been so valuable for DeAndre Pierce. I'd like to see him go ahead and just play aggressive. You know, you're going to get that 5th foul here over the next couple of minutes. Go ahead and guard, continue to play aggressive defensively, and continue to grow from this tonight.
He is like to shoot it from there, Kenyon Giles, as the double team comes. 5 on the shot clock. Tried to give it away to Walters. Hunter couldn't save it. Take a look at R.J. Godfrey. He's really found a home close in this year.
Led the Tigers in field goal percentage this past season at 62%. Continues to be athletic at the rim, both as a as a offensive rebounder, putting the ball back in. But he's done a really good job of getting deep post position. You've seen him score to his jump hook a couple of times. He's really grown this season.
To beat the shot clock out in front. It'll go down for Trenton Walters, a 39% three-point shooter. Godfrey, one of the double-figure scorers with 10. Gets the ball out high. He had the career-high 19 last week against Queens. Shefflin lobbing for Godfrey. Tried to kick it across the lane. Antoine came in with 21 steals on the year to lead their team. Giles on Shefflin. Looked like Godfrey got a hand on it. Turner. And R.J. Godfrey clears the glass. He's got 5 boards in the game. Tigers in some key stat areas really doing great work. Wiggins no, but Shefflin on a double-figure rebounding night for him. Dylan Hunter. Godfrey again. Look at the rebounding totals, although the turnover in Antoine. And Godfrey with the foul. And just on the glass alone, that tells a big story in this game as Clemson has out-rebounded the Highlanders 40-13.
They have back-to-back turnovers right here for the Tigers. Watching Coach Brownell and the staff, the ball has gotten deep into the paint in 2 straight possessions. R.J. Godfrey probably passed up a shot the possession before when he kicked it out and it led to the turnover. I think Coach Brownell would like to see his young player take that up strong and finish it at the rim.
Godfrey's first. Antoine, Villanova transfer, was plagued by injury when he was with the Wildcats, but a year ago he was first team All Big South. 91% on the year from the line. You know, for the second straight Friday, the game has gone into the second half with the outcome not in question. And you know, you just saw Brad Brownell looking pretty intensely because there were some things in the second half last week in the dominant win over Queens he wasn't necessarily happy with. You see him coaching up R.J. Godfrey there.
Yeah, you know, it's something that we talked about over the holiday break with the coaching staff. The game was so out of hand. They were in a certain ball screen coverage. They wanted to stick with it. But they want to see him guard. They want to guard the basketball because they know that starting next Wednesday in Miami, it's going to get much harder. And they've got to be able to play on the defensive end, get stops whenever the offensive baskets aren't quite as easy.
Josh Beadle changing hands in the air.
I can't say enough about Josh Beadle and the growth that he's had over the last month or so. Got off to a little bit of a slow start to the season coming off of the injury, but has really balled into his role right now as a defender and attacking the rim off the bounce.
Walters had it ring out. They're 6 of 19 beyond the arc. Wiggins. And the size on Walters, who stayed on. Other end, Harris hitting the 3 in transition. 2 Tigers and a Highlander were tangled up on the opposite end of the court. 86-50 is our score. Tigers rolling on. Win number 11. Just a few minutes into an already sterling NCAA tourney resume.
Tigers with 3 quad wins so far this year, the most in the ACC, second in the RPI. As we talked to the coaching staff before the season, we knew November and December were big. We talked about going 9-3 against Quad 4 this past year. Some of those losses in November and December. And they were challenged early in the year. UAB, Davidson, Obviously, South Carolina is very good, having an outstanding season. But they responded in those games. They did what they needed to do in the non-conference. And now ACC play continues on Wednesday. And they continue to build on the body of work that they've already got.
And our producer couldn't stop talking about it throughout the day, about the quad one win opportunities ahead. It'll be tough at Miami, home against North Carolina at Virginia Tech. Hasn't been tough for Josh Beadle. Got a chance to complete it. By the way, just a note if you're into such things, and when your mind is like mine and often just thinking of things to come up with, Virginia Tech and Radford, not only are they just a few miles apart in Southwest Virginia, they share the commonality of having the only two Division I head coaches who are also Radford High alums. So in the span of 4 games, the Tigers will face head coaches with that on their high school diplomas, as Mike Young, of course, the head coach at Virginia Tech, essentially went home when he took over the Hokies a few years ago. And Darius Nichols, a proud alum of that high school, as is his brother and assistant coach Shane.
And both were inducted to their high school Hall of Fame this past fall.
Congrats to them. Wiggins picking up the scoring in the second half. Second straight game, Tigers get past 90. Don't know if they'll get to 100 after scoring 109 against Queens.
I asked Coach Darius Nichols that question yesterday. I said, what's it like to coach in your hometown? Obviously, he said the community support is so important. It's really helped in recruiting. He's able to help guys when they're wanting to major in something or to meet someone on that official visit. He said there's challenges, with being at home like that, but I know the people back in Radford are really proud of Coach Nichols and both Shane and Darius and what they've been able to continue to build at Radford.
Turner now has 11 for the Highlanders. Matt Kelly on the floor for the Tigers. He had the ball moments ago. Look at the move by Wiggins. The ceiling, I still think, is huge for a guy who just continues to grow up. At 6'10", he can step out. He can give the Tigers 2 6'10" guys at the same time with him and Hall, who can hit threes, and then another big in Shefflin. He'll conclude his night with that as his farewell. 8 points in the game for the sophomore, Chauncey Wiggins.
When you go into a gym and you talk about what NBA players look like physically, that's what they look like. And his body changed so much this past summer. They wanted him to get stronger so that he could score it better at the paint, be a better offensive rebounder. We've seen that in both of these last 2 possessions. But he's really worked hard physically. And they felt like coming off of his freshman year, his pace had to change some in practice. But you're seeing the fruits of the labor. 13 points per game in the last 4 games. He's really talented.
Daniel Nassif just checked in, commits the personal foul. Truth Harris came to them from Indian Hills Community College, originally from just outside of New York City. Highlanders were held to a season low for a first half, just 24 points. That try from long range not going to go down for Latif.
So I had the unique opportunity when I was at the College of Charleston for my last year. Andrew Latif came to us from Daniel High School. He was going to walk on. Unfortunately, broke his leg right before school started, but stayed there with us, was worked with our team during his recovery before transferring back to Clemson. Really proud of that young man and what he's done. He's about to get his degree from Clemson.
Forcing it, unable to get it to go down, Burns, redshirt freshman. Under a minute and a half to go, Tigers will go to 5-0 all time. And so, team out of the Big South who will be very good in their conference. Clemson will get a second win against the Big South team. Remember, they opened against Winthrop with a dominant performance. Hunter on the drive, had it knocked away by Walters, and then some ping pong action, and the Highlanders will keep it. UNC Asheville picked to win. I think they and Radford, from the Big South teams I've seen so far, in their own realm at this point as far as that conference goes. I think Winthrop can do some good things. High Point, very good. Gardner-Webb got a great home win against a good Western Carolina team earlier this season.
I think the Big South Conference is very good. I asked Coach Nichols that question yesterday. Tell me about the league, and the first thing he said is better than what people think. Some very good coaches in that league, really talented players. It'll be a really good year in the Big South Conference.
A little pump fake and a drive by Kelly. Tigers working the perimeter. Beadle kicks, and Latif with the walk.
You're supposed to shoot those as the walk-on. Josh Beadle knew exactly what he was doing. He drove it, kicked it to his teammate. You're supposed to shoot those, Andrew.
Good effort all around. Loading up from the outside and getting it to fall. Walters, he's got 6 in the game, both on 3-pointers. Tigers going to just dribble it out. It'll be another convincing win. What a non-conference run when you consider the only loss outside of the league was by 2 points on the road in overtime at Memphis.
A game that they very easily could have won, led at the half.
Oh, I say in overtime, late game, tight game down the stretch.
But, you know, very, very tough game. And the Tigers did what they needed to do in the non-conference. Anyone that would have signed up for this record right now, going into January, going into next Wednesday at Miami, would have done it in a heartbeat.